We drew 2-2 at Olympiacos when it was 2-0 up. Tragic. I don't care. You're not winning anything. You got to Champions League final. Well done. You lost it. Doesn't matter.
Welcome to episode 4 of the First4LCFC Podcast. Hopefully, you know the drill by now. It's hosted by myself, Jamie Thorpe, and I'm joined by the other two First4LCFC admins, Ed Noon and Chris Mosen, and we're going to have a look back over a fortnight's worth of Leicester City games as we've missed an episode. So it's been a fortnight of mixed fortunes for Leicester, a game which you could possibly categorise as a bit of a disappointment, followed up by what's got to go down as a brilliant result against Spurs. So we'll start with the Man United game. There was a lot of people after the game that seemed very disappointed with the result and the fact that we didn't manage to pick up more points away at Old Trafford. Ed, do you agree that it is a case of we have dropped points there, or are we being over-ambitious in what we're saying?
I don't think there's an issue with being ambitious, especially with the squad we've got and how we've been doing so far this season. And Man U also had some relatively important players for them out with injury, so it was a really good opportunity to go there and get, at least a point. There was a lot of us thinking there's no reason why we can't get 3 points. So leaving there with empty-handed, it does feel like an opportunity lost, really. They were there for the taking. They've not been in great form this season, and if we were to beat them, there'd already be quite a significant gap in the table points-wise between us and them. Which is, if we're going to be battling it out with them for potentially a top 6 place come the end of the season, you don't really want to be dropping points to them. So I'm looking back at it now, a week later, and thinking, yeah, that is a disappointing result. We could have got more, probably should have.
Do you think that says more about the state of where Man United are at this current moment in time in terms of the lack of their squad depth and the sort of position they find themselves in, or is that more of a statement about Leicester and the aspirations that we have?
Well, forgive me for sounding like Alan Shearer, but I think it's a bit of both. So look, they can be as useless as they can be in relative terms, but unless you're capable yourself, you're not going to go there and win. Like, you wouldn't back Burton Albion to go there and win, or some other lower league team. You've still got to perform. And at the minute, we've got a really strong squad, one of the best we've had in recent times. Some would say the best, and they're probably the weakest they've ever been. So the stars are kind of aligning. We're progressing, they're regressing, and this was our chance. So it just feels a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah, no, I mean, because it would have made a big difference to the table, like you said. I mean, obviously the Spurs result is a great result that we shouldn't take, that we would never take for granted. But I mean, they'd be hovering just above the relegation zone, whereas we'd be pipping Man City. So
yeah, we'd be second.
It was a big opportunity lost. So Chris, obviously, I know you've just been sat there quietly for a couple of minutes. In your view, then, what went wrong with the game? It was a poor performance on the whole, but what would you put that down to?
Yeah, no, first of all, I think this is a record. I've beaten last episode's record of not speaking, so it's almost 4 minutes. But no, I think in terms of what we discussed in the last podcast, I was hopeful that we'd go there and really take the match to them, like the way we started the Spurs game. But unfortunately, it wasn't like that. And yeah, I guess you can't blame any manager for going to Old Trafford traditionally and starting with 2 holding mids and maybe being a bit more cautious. But it's interesting to see just how much, like in terms of decision-making process for Rodgers or any other manager, how much they consider form. Because if you're going to play Man United at their place, I don't remember them being any worse than they are right now. That'd be squad-wise, squad depth, form, recent results. I know we're only, 6 or 7 games into the season, but surely you go there and you play, it's calculated risk, isn't it? Play the first 5-10 minutes, see how we go. Like James Maddison had that chance. Just take it to him, step it up another gear after that, it just felt like we sort of sat off. We dominated possession as predicted, but it was useless possession ultimately. We just didn't create. Vardy might as well have been sort of not on the pitch, and it's not his fault. It's just, it was frustrating. It was frustrating because, like, I think every Leicester fan thought this is our chance to beat them. We've not beaten in like the last, since like at least 98, and that's as far as like the stats go back for me on the app I'm looking at. But it's just it's frustrating, and I think if we played with a bit more ambition, we could have easily. If we went 1-0 up there, basically, I think their confidence would have crumbled. And I'm not going to say it would have been a rout, but we probably would have won.
Yeah, I think they certainly were there for the taking, and I think you're right in that the shape just didn't allow us to play at our best. I don't think. I don't think that having the two defensive midfielders works well when we dominate possession. It's just never going to do that.
And that's what I mean. I think it feels like it's a waste. Do you know what I mean? Like we've got that possession in a sort of defensive shape, but if we swapped one of our defensive mids for a more attacking player, or maybe started Maddison through the middle, it creates opportunities. Maddison, like whether or not he's angling for a move away, I mean that's totally different discussion. But surely he'd want to go there, and actually that's the one ground he'd want to impress at. Then surely, so go on then, James, take it over and do what he did against Spurs. But he didn't really get that chance till the latter stages. So yeah, it is frustrating, and it is definitely an opportunity missed for me.
I do feel that again that Man U. Sorry, Jamie. That their central midfield is like it's such an important part of football, and for them it really is poor for them compared to what they're used to. So if there's one position we should go there looking to sort of exploit and attacking, it should really be that centre midfield area. So playing two defensive mid sort of goes against that for me. It's looking that we're trying to just hold our own rather than go there and actually exploit their weaknesses and go with a more attacking mindset.
So do you think that if arguably we showed them too much respect?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't name you off the top of my head who played in midfield for them in that specific match. But yeah, Matic was great about 5 or 6 years ago, but has lost it very fast. McTominay's got some potential to be a decent player, but he's not someone who's going to, command the midfield and overrun yours. There was the opportunity to go there and really exploit that midfield, and I feel maybe another attacking player rather than two defensive mids may have helped with that.
I think so, and I think it's a case of something we could have targeted was maybe Maguire's lack of pace a bit more, because I don't think Lindelof's of that standard where he knows, or their partnership isn't that good where he's covering Maguire yet. I think there would have been gaps in behind, maybe just trying a few balls over the top like we've seen in recent weeks, in particular at home matches, which has been fruitful against Bournemouth and against Spurs. I think we just lacked that creativity that we definitely have in our squad, and it's just, I must keep saying it is frustrating because we just felt like we did stand off them and gave them too much respect, and yeah, there was absolutely no reason to show them that much respect, I don't think. I mean, you're looking at the last game against West Ham, obviously that came afterwards, but Phil Jones basically saying you're going to get sacked in the morning. There's no stability in that club at all. It is tragic right now. It's embarrassing for them.
Yeah, they're making a lot of money, but not doing it on the pitch at all. But they're spending money as well without really moving forward. And I was talking to a friend of mine who's a Man U fan. He's like, well, we just don't have the players really. They've got the world's most expensive centre-back and the second most expensive midfielder, if you count Coutinho as midfielder. Like, they've spent a lot of money, but they're just not doing it for me as a club at the minute. I think they're in big trouble, and I would have loved for us to win. To won that game, if not as well, just to send a message to Maguire. This is what happens if you choose money over a project. But
that's what I mean. I think it's worth mentioning. Obviously, he came out of that. Well, I don't know if you want to call it cocky, arrogant, stupid tweet after the game, didn't he? Don't remember the exact wording, but ultimately saying no, he was like laughing at the reception he got from Leicester fans. So
yeah.
I mean, it's I mean, fundamentally, I think their issues are with the coaching side of things. I think with a better manager, someone who can actually steer the ship, they're probably better. So yeah, I think someone like Poch is probably going to step up. I think he's fed up at Spurs. Manu will get fed up of Ollie, and that's probably a normal move, I'm predicting. But who knows? Not our problem really, as long as we keep progressing.
Well, speaking of managers and Spurs, that's a nice little segue. It's almost like you did that on purpose. We'll talk about the Spurs game quickly. I think if it's fair to say that Rodgers may have got it wrong in the Man U game. He certainly got things right in the Spurs game. We reverted back to that midfield three with Maddison, Tielemans, and Ndidi. Dropped Chowdhury to the bench, and it was a much more offensive shape. Ed, what difference do you think that change made to Leicester's overall performance, and who sort of benefited from it the most?
I think we certainly made more opportunities against Spurs. Perhaps more. You also got to factor in the fact that we were at home, so you're naturally going to be a bit more attacking at home. But there was at least, even if it wasn't that, and it was to do with the personnel, we were more creative, had more chances to score, and it was much more enjoyable game to follow and watch. I thought Maddison was particularly good, especially with his winner at the end, which was nice to see. So although it's always nice to see other players, because the last few years we've been a bit worried that if Vardy wasn't going to score, who would be scoring for us? But in Maddison now, we have that creative player who can also contribute and get late winners, which is nice. So in that sense, I was happy with Maddison.
Yeah, it seemed that he had that freedom, the sort of wasn't having to come in off the wing, and I think that made a big difference to his overall game. But Krys, looking at it as an overall fixture, obviously there was a bit of VAR and all that, which we'll come to. But do you think Leicester's overall performance was enough to give them 3 points?
I think so, because I just think we went well. I mean, I don't know, in terms of like possession and stuff. I mean, I guess the stats were probably closer than what we think, but I think it's one of those, like, VAR did play a massive role ultimately, and we'll speak about it, but it's like when you get a negative decision in VAR, you see sort of a huge drop off in terms of like maybe the crowd and in terms of the players as well. And I think that did affect us. So we were lucky not to go 2-0 down, because I think that would have been game over. But I think overall, I think it was deserved. Like Ed says, you're at home, so we are more buoyant. I think when we use that to our advantage, because it's in seasons gone by, this wouldn't have been. I mean, this would have been even more of a sort. Well, it wasn't a shock result this time, but I think this time we went into it sort of relatively even on odds, and I think we were just a better team on the day. I think Poch massively disagreed in his post-match conference, and he says there was no chance we deserved to win that. But I think we created enough chances. We put their back line up against it, and I didn't watch that match and think, wow, we were lucky then. I think it was an enjoyable watch, and we dominated periods of it.
Yeah, the VAR decision was crucial. But I think when in Pochettino's post-match, he did say that we dominated the game and we deserved more because we were better than Leicester. And I'm not sure about that. I thought that we made the more clear-cut opportunities. I mean, the one that didn't get shown on Match of the Day, which I was surprised about, was Barnes's very, very early on, where he went through into the box and he miscued it. And we had a few like that where it was just like Vardy's first touch not quite being where it needed to be to set him away, and little things like that which didn't quite go for us. And had they gone that way on a different day, I think we'd have put a few past them. But that was obviously, in my view, not Pochettino's.
We need to remember that, in years gone by, we would have sort of had the same chances and we would have maybe not even scored one goal. So it is progress. Obviously, we've won, but that we've actually stopped Spurs from scoring 2 ultimate goals. So I think there's plenty of positives to take. It's just, I guess there was a massive element of luck as well.
I mean, we are also seems to be making our home ground a bit of a, almost a bit of a fortress, to use that cliche. So we've only lost once in our last 9 games there. which is great. Harry Kane obviously scored against us again. He scored 4 more goals against Leicester than he has any other side in his professional career. But it was a hell of a finish, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, when me and Ed were watching that together, I think he's got to sit back and sort of applaud it. One, for him not blatantly diving for once. And 2, I guess I think Ed is a bit more controversial on this, saying like all you have to do is stick a leg out and it's sort of fortuitous. But I think there's more to it. Basically, it's a technically sound finish in a fluky sort of way. But yeah, credit to him.
Technically sound in a fluky way.
I mean, it's you like that. Like the ball's going anywhere. Like he's steered it past the keeper, and I remember at the time you were like, that's just luck.
I think the finish looked better than it was in that it was like a chip. But if we're going to pretend that he purposely tried to chip it,
I didn't say he was purposely chipping. I'm saying
I'm not aiming this at you at all. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying he sort of. You knew where the goal was. He thought, all right, obviously I'm going to swing a foot at it and aim in that direction. And he hit it nicely into the ground, so it like flipped up into the air, and keeper couldn't do anything about it. Like Krys said, he did well not to go down, because it probably would have been a pen, or was it on the edge of the box? I don't know. But yeah, stayed on feet, good goal. But one thing I've just noticed looking at stats, because I love stats.
You do love stats.
Did you know we have the best defence in the league?
I did not know that.
Joint best on goals conceded, with, even though we've only, is it 1 clean sheet we've kept? Just 1. But conceded 5. Liverpool have also conceded 5, but other than that, everyone is 6 or above. So
happy days.
Well, we cut 1 clean sheet on the first game of the season.
So we just keep conceding 1.
Yeah.
But we tend to score more than 1, so it turns out like we win.
So basically, as you know, you can take stats to mean anything you want. So from that, I'm going to take that Johnny Evans is as good as Virgil van Dijk, and I won't hear a word of disagreement about that. In the game, I was actually, speaking of Evans, I was actually very, very impressed with him. I know a lot of the talk has been about Soyuncu and how he was going to step up and fill Maguire's shoes, but I feel like Evans has sort of gone under the radar, much like he did last year.
How good was that tackle on Harry Kane, by the way?
Celebrated like a goal, wasn't it? It was.
It's what you love to see, because there was nothing wrong with it either, and it's an old-fashioned tackle, ain't it? They say don't follow through and that, but yeah, nothing wrong with that, is there?
Yeah, and credit, and to be fair to Kane, he did just sort of get up and say, you know what, fair enough. In terms of the overall result, obviously, it keeps us. I know Radio Leicester keep playing the bloody Champions League music every time we're in the top 4, and that's slightly annoying. But in terms of where that leaves us for the season, we are in 3rd. It's still very early, but Krys, I know that you got a little bit of stick for that article you did, where you said Leicester were going to finish top 4. Do you think that has been vindicated over the last 6 games?
I'm not going to say the Premier League's predictable this year, because there's going to be many twists and turns, and it's going to be entertaining. But look at the squads going into this season; they are the weakest and almost unpredictable. Look at the managers, look at everything. Other than Liverpool and Man City, it's anyone's for the taking. Like, I just honestly don't see why we can't finish top 4. Oh, well, not top 2. They're written off, like I said, but 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Like, like Spurs, yeah, they're probably the best, but even there, they're going through turmoil. If they do lose Poch, what happens next for them? Will they lose players in January? Man U, I don't need to go there. Ed can stand up for them. They're useless. Arsenal, they can score. They can't defend. Chelsea, youthful team. Good luck to Lampard. I just don't see it happening this year. Transfer ban. You know, how many seasons, let's put it this way, can you say of that about the Premier League? You can't. And, we're just softly going along in the background. Best defence, that's not being spoken about. No one notices. We don't care. We want to be not the underdogs. Like, But they might be top 6, might be top 6. No, let's go top 4, and that confidence will be building in the squad. Like, let's not be silly. Like, yeah, Brendan Rodgers will be coming out playing it down, but game by game, them gaps can get bigger. We can start keeping clean sheets. Say we go into Christmas, aren't they, like 6 points clear in top 4, then do we start believing then? I don't know. But for me, it's well and truly open, and I'll stick with that top 4 prediction.
I mean, you're absolutely spot on in that it's the most unpredictable league it's been for a while. I know it's still early days, but if after 6 games you'd have told me that we'd be 3rd, West Ham 5th, Chelsea 11th, United 8th, and Wolves and Watford would be in the bottom 3, you'd have got massive odds for that. It's just, Watford are absolutely out of it. Chelsea, I agree with you, but they can't seem to stop shipping goals. They've got the 2nd worst defensive record in the league, I think, apart from Watford, and they could see 8 at the weekend. So I think it is all up to play for. But one of the reasons why I asked, and I think, Ed, this is probably one for you, because I think you'll enjoy this. We always put it out on Twitter asking for questions, and it's always great to get a few back. Amar is always good at sending them in. This time, he said, the easiest question I may put to you, are Leicester a bigger club than Tottenham? And then he goes on to say, by the way, there's only one answer, and that's yes, but please discuss anyway.
It's a great question.
Ed?
No. In the nicest way possible to our contributor. If you say, have they got a team that can match Tottenham home and away? In recent years, other than the title winning year, it would have been a no as well. But it's not recent years this year.
Over the last 10 years, why would Spurs be a bigger club?
Well, how many? I don't know.
I know it's not the question. I know
Years,
it's not the question. And in the 70s and 80s, they had great players, great success. But over the last 10 years, and in the way we're going, is there that much between them?
Yes. Let's not be silly now.
Silverware-wise, they've won 1 League Cup.
When were Spurs last not in Europe?
We're going into that debate again. Silverware. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Come forth every year. Look how many years Arsenal did that. Where's it got them? They're struggling for top 6 now. I don't care. Why are Spurs a bigger club? Like, being top 4 consistently isn't like it's nothing. It doesn't make.
They are a better club because they have better. Well, the club first. They have a larger fan base, more income, bigger stadium, bigger sponsors. The play better
commercial stuff, and I get that's part of being a bigger club. But talk to me about performances. Why are they a bigger club, like in terms of footballing stature?
Because Leicester finished above them once in our lifetime.
How many more trophies How many more trophies have Spurs won over the last 10 years?
I'm willing to be called out as wrong. In our lifetime, me and Krys are mid to late 20s. Jamie's about 40 for those.
Spurs have got a couple of League Cups.
In our lifetime, I think we finished above Spurs once, maybe twice.
You're talking about league position. Like, we finished above fucking, I don't know, Watford and stuff like that. I don't look at that and go, wow, Watford's such a small club. Look at silverware. Look at, we're growing massively faster, in my opinion, than what Spurs are.
I'm not on about growth. Growth is immaterial. Salford, for example, their growth has been exponential recently.
They literally couldn't even afford to buy a player for the last 3 windows.
Yeah.
How a sign of a big club?
But you said the commercial side and money's not important.
Yeah, so talk to me about trophies then. How many more trophies have they won than Leicester?
The last 10 years? I suspect the same amount, if not more.
They've won 1. I think it's a League Cup.
Well, there you go then. So
we've won the Premier League.
You said not trophies.
We were in the Championship 10 years ago.
So, and they were in the Champions League. Difference.
I think they only just qualified for the first Champions League about 9 years ago.
No, just 9 then. I'll take that back. But they're obviously
you're in this mentality where, like, a club gets £3 billion revenue a year. Like, I don't care. Literally don't care. Like, Man U get loads. Look at them.
They beat us, yeah.
So you'd be happy being a Man U fan? Oh, look at us! Yeah, we got this massive we
No, I
got a
wouldn't.
billion
I'd say
backing.
they're a bigger club. I'm not. You said our top. Well, the question was, are Spurs a bigger club? Yeah, of course they
All
are.
you've named
Doesn't
is
mean their team on the
all you've
pitch
named
is
is
better than
commercial
us.
stuff.
The team and club aren't the same.
I know, and all you've named is commercial stuff.
Okay, tell me what is a club that's nothing to do with the team.
You're gonna have to explain that question because that's very vague.
Okay, well, what side of the club, the importance, is not to do with the commercial side, i.e., the things I said about income, sponsors, stadium, and fans. What else is there to a club?
Well, yeah, if that's the question, then fair enough. Obviously, I'm accounting for performances as well. Like, if he wanted to know the commercial assets of Spurs, I'm pretty sure he'd have asked that, wouldn't he? I don't know.
Well, in what sense of Leicester's performances?
Narrow-minded in terms. I just think Leicester are growing at a faster rate than Spurs.
Yes, growth again. Growth is not.
It's just the way you dismiss.
equivalent
You basically laugh at
size.
the question, thinking that Spurs are like 20 times bigger than us. I disagree with that massively.
Growth
They're a London
and-
club that automatically puts them at advantage for stuff like that. But
Growth
look
and
how unhappy their fan base is right now. Like,
if a team was in League One 10 years ago and is now in the Premier League, then they've grew more than Man City in the last 10 years. It's not to do with growth, it's to do with size. And I think
and where's that size getting them? This is what I'm saying. Yeah, fair enough. They're a bigger
Champions
club.
League every year.
Ground. Oh well, like this is what I mean. It's like this conversations can go around in circles. I just think there's more to it, and I don't think as a fan of Spurs, if I was to be one, or Arsenal in years gone by, I wouldn't be happy just constantly finishing fourth and almost taking your foot off the pedal to do so.
Well, but we're not
ambition.
discussing happiness of fans and the
club, but if you got a lack of ambition, what's the point? You're playing for nothing. We had this argument a couple of months ago about, or a couple of weeks ago about trophies. You'd rather finish fourth. I'd rather win a trophy. Like,
I think it's a sign of a pretty big club if you finish fourth and is disappointed. I think that's a very big club.
It's a lack of ambition. Imagine going like 50, 60 years of supporting a club and going, oh yeah, by the way, grandson, yeah, remember that year in 2006 when we qualified for the Champions League for the first time in for 30 years? We did the same, but we never did anything. We drew 2-2 at Olympiacos when it was 2-0 up. Tragic. I don't care. You're not winning anything. You got to Champions League final. Well done. You lost it. Doesn't matter.
I'll try and jump in there. I suppose it depends on how you categorize what a big club is, because the traditional view is that clubs like Leeds, Newcastle, Wolves, these are big clubs, but you could arguably say that Leicester are in a much better position than all of those, if maybe not Wolves at the minute because of the European competition, but in terms of long-term view, Leicester are in a better position. But historically, they are bigger teams. So it depends on which angle you look at it. And I'll just say that you're looking at it from different angles and hope that sort of puts a bow on that.
Jamie, stop being neutral.
I'm not allowed an opinion.
He's got a point there. He said teams like Wolves are bigger clubs in your opinion. What have they got to show for it?
I don't think they're a bigger club.
Okay, Newcastle, again, for your reasons, would be a bigger club than Leicester. So what?
There is no so what. The question is not, are Spurs a bigger club and are their fans happy and are they performing as good as they should do and do they invest well and are they doing well in Europe? The question is,
could have gone with that. Yeah, sure.
The question is, are they a bigger club? I don't think Wolves are. I think what makes a big club is consistency of high performance over many years.
Is that not team-based, though, in your opinion?
Pardon?
Is that not a team-based factor?
Well, I think there's a number of variables involved, and
people would say that Spurs play better at White Hart Lane since they moved to this bigger stadium for a bigger.
Again, it's not really to do with how well and how pleased people are with the performances. You say teams like Arsenal are doing awful. Well, when were they last not in Europe? They've consistently been.
They used to qualify for Champions League. Now they're qualifying for the Europa League. That's going down in my book.
Regression is not a sign of poor performance. It's a sign of being worse. It's a sign of being worse than before.
Yeah, going backwards.
Yeah, that's still not a sign of poor. If you played
Would
38
you
matches in the
would you be
league,
happy as an Arsenal fan then? Like
if you
literally try to put yourself in an Arsenal fans, would you be happy qualifying for Champions League and now you're qualifying for Europa League and you're telling me you'd be turning around and saying, no, it's regression ain't a bad thing, guys. Come on.
No, I never said it's not a bad thing. I said it's not a sign of a bad team, of a small club. If you get 100 points one season and come second, get 80 the second season, and still get in the top 4 or even top 2, you've regressed. But it's not a bad team.
It's an irrelevant example, but okay.
It's not. Regression that's a sign of regression. It doesn't mean you're a small club.
I didn't say they're a small club. I just think that you totally dismissed the question as soon as it was asked, when in reality, the gaps other than commercial aren't that significant in modern history. Even since the Premier League era, like Spurs aren't that much bigger than Leicester.
Leicester have probably been in the Premier League half the time the Premier League's existed.
All in.
Spurs has been there all the time.
Okay. You're sort of picking and choosing bits you want to listen to.
How many times have Leicester come above Spurs?
How many times have Spurs won more trophies than Leicester?
Same amount as vice versa.
But I think there's more importance in silverware than position in league other than financial merit.
I just don't see how an argument can be that currently...
You'd rather finish, you've already admitted this, you'd rather finish 7th each year than win a trophy. That's literally a serial lack of ambition. And yeah, the poll might have not got a massive amount of votes, like over 100 odd, but it was like 92% of people said they'd rather win a trophy. Like, you want to look, yeah, again, it's going off topic, it's not necessarily a big club, but it is a massive lack of ambition. I do think that should be factored into how big a club is. Like, ambition is, it's not a tangible asset, but teams like Arsenal, they are seriously regressing. And Man United, like, look, all the former players are coming out. Like, it doesn't matter for anything how big the club is.
Okay, here's a question, and it's up to you how you answer this. If Leicester were ambitious, where do you think an ambitious Leicester fan would have said before the season started they'd finish in the league?
Top 4, and that's what I said.
Okay. And if Spurs, an ambitious fan, where do you think they would say?
Top 2.
Okay, so there's a difference.
Yeah.
Why? Ambition is important.
Relative growth.
Why?
Relative growth. The second would be like there's progression there. 1 minute you're arguing that regression ain't a bad thing, but I'm saying if Spurs finish higher, then ultimately that is going up position. It's still no trophies, but it's better, relatively speaking.
Okay. I'm just saying, if you said ambition should play a factor.
I'm desperate. I'd say they need to win a trophy. That's like bottom line. There's no excuses. They've had opportunities wasted. In your opinion, Leicester haven't even been in the Premier League that long, so surely our desperation shouldn't be that high. They need silverware.
Oh. If silverware is important, then this can be the last point, because I know this convo is going on forever and we're never going to agree. Spurs have had chances and haven't taken them. How many chances have Leicester had in recent years if silverware...
Even worse. That's even worse. They're serial bottle jobs. They're the only team that have gone 2-0 up and lost 2-1 this season. Like, seriously, like, it's mental. Like, they've had chances. You're literally making this easy for me.
We're talking about cups.
They're getting to finals and losing them.
Would you rather get to finals and lose or not get there?
They're both as bad as each other. You don't get anything for losing. You said
you want previously that you'd like to go to finals.
Yeah, that's literally not the point. I'm saying if you've lost 10 finals, you're serial losers. I'd want to be going to finals and winning them. I don't want to be discussing why I've lost 10. Silverware is silverware. You either win or you lose. You can go to 100 finals. If you got 0, you're the same as Leicester. Don't matter. Not a big club.
So basically, the answer to your question, Amar, is that we can't agree at all.
I think Spurs are a bigger club than Leicester, but not the way that it's been dismissed massively. You can't argue like commercially bigger club, but ambition, stuff like that. We're getting this massive state-of-the-art our training ground. Yeah, again, it's not silverware, but we're going in the right direction. We're closing the gap a lot faster than they're growing. And that's the point I'm making. I just don't think it should be dismissed, is all. Okay?
All right, fair comments and good points from you both. I was just remembering how to talk because I've been out that one for a little while.
That was more than 4 minutes.
That was what felt like an eternity. Right, so Amar did also ask another very good question looking ahead at the Newcastle game. And we know that it's going to be a very different game to the two teams we faced last time. We are likely to be facing this. They've been Steve Bruce massively, haven't they? Let's be honest. They're not exactly tearing the league up in terms of chances created. They've only scored 4 goals. It's joint bottom with Watford and Palace. They have conceded a fair few as well. They're just a miserable team. But Amar's question is, how do we approach the game, basically, and how do we tactically improve to try and break teams down? They're going to park the bus. So, Ed, in terms of our approach, how do you want to see Leicester?
I was going to pass this on to you. You know, we've just answered the last question in detail. What do you think, Jamie, we should do? You are the voice of reason.
I'm not. No, I don't have an opinion. I just.
What would you like Leicester to do differently against Newcastle?
Leicester have just gone 3-0 up. I know it's irrelevant, but Youri Tielemans has scored, so that's always nice to see, isn't it, lads?
Get in, absolutely. I don't really want us to see. I don't want to see us do an awful lot different than what we did against the Spurs game. I think we played on the front foot. We moved the ball quickly. I know, Krys, you commented on a lot of the diagonal balls that we played in that game and that we're doing against Luton as well. Granted, it is Luton, but that sort of expansive play with a bit of freedom, get Maddison on the ball, get Tielemans working off him. And I think when we're fluid, we've got it in us to move these packed defences apart and make that space. And that is where, and you just know that Vardy's just basically, he's just waiting for the right time. And when you've got a man with that sort of movement and with that predatory instinct, the goals will come. But it's a case of for me, it's a case of the momentum and really building into the game. Don't let them stifle it. I think in the last few years we've got a bit frustrated when we can't break sides down. I think the fans are going to have to be a bit more patient, which hopefully they will do as we're under Brendan now. And I think if we can do that, get some momentum, I think we'll do it. But that's my 2 cents. I'm not used to giving the answers, so I'm not really sure where to go from here. But
they've won the last 2 games at the King Power Stadium. I nearly called it the Walkers Stadium then. Sorry. Yeah, they the last 2 years they've won 1-0 and 2-1, despite us having all the ball. So
they're in the game last year.
Actually, it was earlier this year, last season.
I think it's the main factor is it's the Rafa Benitez effect. I think you've got a highly skilled manager against what Steve Bruce is going to produce. I think one's got serious tactics behind it and a knowledge of the game, like a serious knowledge of the game at huge clubs. Whereas Steve Bruce, not taking anything away from him, I think, his tactics may be a bit more transparent. I don't think they'll be as well thought through. So I think it's a matter of time against Newcastle. But yeah, similar tactics. But I think, we should be able to break any Steve Bruce team down.
And so in terms of the team selection, would you therefore just say you want the same team that started the game against Tottenham?
I'd say, it's hard to say because obviously at time of recording, obviously the Luton match going on, we're not really following it at all. But I don't think even if you had a worldie of a game against Luton, I think you keep with the same team, same shape. I think we go in unchanged really, and like I said, it should really be, more than enough to see off Newcastle.
Would you start Perez?
I would.
What did you think of him, Jamie, at the weekend?
I think because I know he's getting a bit of stick, but I was quite encouraged by him at the weekend. I thought he showed some nice touches. He had a rough 20 minutes. He gave the ball away stupidly, and he had a rough 20 minutes after that. But I think he grew into it, and he keeps it well.
That's the thing. I think he has had a decent little goal ruled out tonight. It was offside, I think, but again, technically, I think it was a chip from what I've seen on Twitter. But also, the goal that was disallowed, that was a bit cheeky from him, wasn't it, against Spurs? Like in terms, he has that composure. He just needs that goal or a really good assist or something, doesn't he? I think just to really get him going, maybe.
Yeah, he might be one of those sort of confidence players, a bit like Barnes was. You always got the impression that he needed a goal. But I mean, a lot of Newcastle fans said when we signed him that he was inconsistent. And I don't know if that's what we're seeing or whether we're just seeing a man struggling to settle. But
I think he's certainly one of these, like you said, explosive players. He gets one early on, he could get a hat trick. Do you know what I mean? But otherwise, he could easily fade out of games. So, I just want him. It would be nice again against his old club as well. No better time. I know he flapped it in the League Cup against them, but it's the Premier League now. So let's go again.
I would certainly rather see him than Demarai Gray. I know he came on at the weekend, and I know he scored tonight, but he's still just.
He's got an assist. He got a good assist. I've just seen the Tielemans goal. It was a massive mess at the back, but relatively composed, little lofted cross back in. He seems well.
Have you given up on him, Jamie?
No, I'm not giving up on him. I just when he came on against Tottenham, we had that period where we were where Maddison got crocked, didn't he, towards the end. And Gray frustrated the life out of me because he's only just come on. He's supposed to be fresh legs, and he was just sort of walking round, and that did my head in. I don't know why, because it was so tense, but he just wasn't really doing it for me. I desperately want him to be good. He's a Leicester player, and I will support him, but I just don't know. When you see the young lads coming through like Maddison, Chilwell, Tielemans, and Didi, people that are making marked improvements, it just to me just shows how much he's stagnated, really. Because can you honestly say he is a markedly better player than he was 2 years ago?
I know he came in we all had high hopes that he'd become a Premier League regular, keep progressing, contributing goals and assists, maybe even make a claim for a starting place internationally. And whilst he did well for the under-21s whilst he was there, he couldn't be much further from getting a call up to the main squad now. Like, he's not even playing. He's not even been in all the squads. So it's an interesting one because we obviously have the foundations from which young people are growing and developing as footballers. And people like Chilwell, for example, in a matter of just a couple of years, he's gone from being someone we thought was a potential, maybe a first teamer, to being a first teamer, to being like an England regular, and it's just not happened with Gray.
Yeah, exactly my point. I think he's really got to show that improvement. I like what Rodgers is doing. He's challenging him. He's not giving him guaranteed minutes unless he shows he earns it. But I don't know. This is his season for me. I think, but it's a long season. You never know. So
we've scored again.
Have we?
Wait, I've got a notification on Flash Scores.
It was Leicester under-21s.
Mate, Arsenal scored. Are you sure it's not for them?
No, there's a little dot flashing next to Leicester, which typically means their goal's about to go in.
Kelechi scored.
It is a goal.
I was literally just about to say one player that I think may well be done is him, and here he comes. He pops up with it.
Yeah, I've seen it now.
Oh God, it is. Pinching myself, checking on my weight. Right, Newcastle predictions then. We've all sounded very confident, so I guess it's going to be 3 wins. But Ed, what do you reckon exactly?
I'm going for 2-0, and I would like to see a goal from Harvey Barnes and Jamie Vardy.
I'd love to see a goal from Harvey Barnes. I'm going with.
Apparently, it's Gray who's just scored.
Oh, even more unlikely.
Everyone's saying Kelechi, but we'll see. Chris, score for you?
3-0 Leicester City. 3-0, and as always, I'll chuck another prediction in there. Perez will score. That's all. It's not going to be that entertaining. 4:30 on a Sunday, lethargic, but good performance. 3-0.
We are. I just can't get the pessimistic side out of my head. I think we'll win, but I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. I will give you 3-1. And yeah, Vardy's going to score, and I think Pratt is going to score. Why? Because I don't know. He looked good at the weekend. Right, if that's I know it's normally this time that because you two save little things you want to talk about until the end. Anything else to add, lads?
I think I've literally used all my words up. I've got a bit of a sore throat, to be honest.
Pardon?
Well, I hope you two can meet up soon, and kiss and make up as well.
It's never anything personal. It's just a massive difference in opinion. And
I heard it was all personal. Ed.
yeah, well, I mean,
did you know Tottenham are currently about to go to extra time away at Colchester?
I wasn't going to say anything. You see, you make it too easy for me.
Yeah, I thought I'd let you know because you'd like it.
It's just here now.
You know what they did wrong, Chris? They started their youth players instead
Exactly.
of the first team.
Look at how Man City started tonight, and that's what I'm saying. Bring them off after 60 minutes. Pochettino, you naughty, naughty man.
He's bored there, apparently.
Yeah, he probably is bored. He's just chucking in absolute. I don't even know. Like, they're probably going to win. Well, it's straight penalties, isn't it? So.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Well,
we don't know Harry Kane to score.
Is he? Did he come on? I don't even know.
No, he's not in the squad.
That is stupid, Poch.
Well, yeah, Pure did that with Vardy and he got sacked. So
Luton have scored.
Oh no! Iheanacho's goal is lovely, by the way.
Was it actually him? Because Flash Score says Damari Gray.
It was actually him. Players surrounded him when he scored as well. So players are happy
because that's important.
He did look happy.
Luton scored it. That's what Sky Sports is so slow these days.
It's flat. Oh no, it was flashing, but now it's not. So maybe it's been disallowed or they missed an easy chance or something.
No, I think it's because Iheanacho scored. They thought they'd flag it twice. Right. I think that seems as good a note as any to leave it. It's been an entertaining podcast for me even to listen to. So hopefully people at home enjoyed it. I have been involved in it at times. It's been magic. So thank you very much for listening. If you made it all the way through, as always, feedback to Twitter or Facebook at First4LCFC. We really do appreciate it and we do take it all on board. And we will see you next week where hopefully Leicester are sitting pretty still in the Champions League places.
Take care. See you later.
Bye-bye.